Hello, my name is Adriana and today we are talking bingo. So I don't know what it is about this particular format, but the bingo card has the reading community in a chokehold. And thus I find myself participating in mostly just 2 bingos at this point. I would like to discuss both of them further. They are both very fun. One of them has actual monetary prizes involved, which is very fun. The other one is just clout, which is not quite as equally as fun, but still fun and motivating in and of itself. So without further ado, let's jump in to bingo. The first bingo we will start with is the Powell's Summer Reading Challenge 2024. This seems to be a yearly tradition for Powell's. This is my first year competing in it because this is my first year being a local to Powell's. But basically what it is filling out this bingo card and getting prizes along the way. So for your first row, your first bingo, you fill out one of these cards and give it to them, and then they give you $5 off if you get a full bingo line, which is exciting because I foresee myself spending a lot of money at Powell's. So having a little bit of money there, always a good thing. And then if you black out the board, you get to turn in the other card and you get entered into a raffle for bigger and better prizes. This runs from June 10th. Yes, June 10th to August 31st. I'm gonna try to black out the board. That's 25 books. And that is, curating, making sure every book I am reading is going to fit into there, because 25 books in that many days is not impossible for me, but it's gonna be difficult, and we're gonna have to be strategic about how we are filling in these squares. So with that, I think I'm gonna pull up my digital version of this so I can show you my progress so far. So you can see on my screen, I have the digital version of the board. The titles in green are ones I have already read or I am currently reading, so they will be done soon. So you can see here, I basically already have my diagonal bingo, so I'm definitely gonna get those $5 or the $5 gift card or whatever, which is very exciting. I do need to finish Black Friend Essays by Ziwei and Sunbringer by Hannah Kaner, but like I said, I don't foresee any issue with finishing those. I have a couple other odds and ends that I've managed to fill in during my reading, and then the red ones are potentials that I know would work for those squares that I feel like I could get read in this time, and then everything else is a blank. So let's look at some of those blanks and comment down below if you have suggestions for me, especially if you know my reading taste and can help me out a little bit here. So banned/challenged, that's fairly self-explanatory, any book that has been banned or challenged. I am not very good at keeping up with books that have been banned or challenged, but I do know Mouse is one that I have seen on a lot of these banned and challenged book lists, and is one I've wanted to read for a long time, so that seems like it'd work well there. Released in 2024, I'm not too concerned about. I do have arcs that I need to catch up with that could easily slot into there. Funny, I might need some help with. I don't read a lot of funny books. The only one I can think of that is kind of on my radar is Black Friend Essays by Ziwei, but I feel like it slots better into that memoir/biography because it is kind of essays on her experience with racism, so it seems like more of a memoir thing than it does a straight funny thing, even though she is a comedian and it is funny. So I don't know, give me suggestions on funny. PNW author. When I go to turn in the first card of my bingo, I think Powell's will probably have a table or a section on PNW authors, so I should be able to make that happen. Not your style. Don't quite know what that means. I'm gonna have to think on that some more as far as not my style, because I just read lots of different things, but maybe, I don't know. I'm gonna think on it some more for sure. Poetry, I was thinking maybe a collection of Walt Whitman or something, or again, when I go to Powell's to turn it in, I might see if there's a poetry collection there that tickles my fancy. A friend's favorite book, That I have a whole list for. That is part of a project that I've been meaning to start since January and I just haven't done it yet. So I will definitely be, I have books for that. No problem. Set in summer. I feel like something I have should be set in summer. I feel like a lot of like romances kind of take place in the summer. I don't foresee myself having too much of an issue with that, but if you do have a really great suggestion, drop it down below. Set in Oregon, I might want other suggestions about, and again, this is probably something I can find at Powell's for books set in this state. I put up one of the books that I recently acquired from my grandpa's collection, Ancient Tribes of Klamath Country. It's somewhere in here. It's like a 1960s survey of indigenous peoples in southwestern Oregon, which seems like it could be really interesting, but at the same time, it was written in the 60s by a white man with a biology degree. So I don't know how A, accurate it's going to be, and B, it might be a little painful to read at times. So it could just be an interesting thing to read and expose myself to, but we'll see. If you have any other suggestions for set in Oregon, or I can also do my own research there, but we'll see. Mystery adventure. I know I will be receiving the arc of James Rowland's books Archangel during this time period of now to August 31st, so I could probably slot that in. It has magic in it. Again, I'm not too concerned about that. I think I will be able to find something. Set in a place you've never been to. I haven't been to most places, so I should be able to make that work. And then a how-to book. That one I am unsure as to what I want to do there. If you have any good how-to books that you know of, definitely drop that down below. That is the Powell's bingo. There is monetary value in this one, so I'm very excited about that. The other bingo I am participating in is the r/fantasy Reddit bingo. So I've talked about this before. I believe I talked about it, I think probably when it came out. I don't know. It's like goes from like March to March. Let's look at my progress and see what's up. So the books that are like opaque, solid color, full opacity, those are the prompts where I either don't think I will be reading another book that can fit that prompt, or that book doesn't really fit any of the other prompts. So we'll go through those first real quick. Before the Coffee Gets Cold is the first in a series, and I don't really think it's gonna fit anything else on this board. Upright Women Wanted, I put that in for alliterative title because Women Wanted, it's semi-alliterative. It's close enough. It fits the examples they gave because they had like Children of Blood and Bone in there, and this is like the same cadence, Upright Women Wanted, so it fits. I might have been able to get it to fit something else, but again, I'm just not super confident on being able to find another semi-alliterative title. The next one, Under the Surface. So the Andromeda Strain, most of it takes place in an underground lab, so below the surface. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to read another book by next March that focuses so heavily on a setting under the surface of the Earth, a planet, whatever, under the surface. The next opaque one we have is Domesticating Dragons. This is self-published or an indie publisher. This book was published by Baen Books, which is an independent publisher, not a part of the, is it the Big Five or the Big Four now? I don't know. There's not that many left, but this one is independent of the big, well-known publishers. The next one up is Some Desperate Glory I have in for space opera. Not that I am opposed to space operas as a genre, that I just find them a little intimidating, so I don't really foresee myself reading another space opera. And then In the Lives of Puppets, judge a book by its cover. So this specifically, like this cover was not the cover on which it was judged. I got the Fairy Loot edition and really loved it. I also, this wasn't fully a judge by its cover because I had heard of TJ Klune before, I had read one of his books before, but the cover was very pretty and the sprayed edges were also very pretty, and that made a big impact on my wanting to own and read this book. And then finally, the last for sure one I have in place is Eldritch Creatures. I have the Odyssey slotted in there. Specifically, you would think for someone who spends so much time reading Greek mythology, I would know how to pronounce any of these names. But the monster Scylla, I don't know. She is a monster that attacks Odysseus's ship and is definitely eldritch horror level monster. So let's go through some of my less opaque options we have going on. I have the Bullet Swallower in the criminals slot. I will probably read more books with criminals in them. That's like a pretty popular like trope in the sci-fi fantasy genre. So I will probably read more books with criminals, but the Bullet Swallower would definitely fit. Dreams, this is any book where like dreams are a big part of the narrative. Obviously the Odyssey could have slotted in there easily, but again, I don't know about the whole eldritch horror situation. So I know Womb City fits in there. I might read more books with kind of a dream-like element just because, again, like criminals, it's a fairly popular trope. Entitled Animals is like any title with an animal in it. Might get to that at some point. Bards, I'm gonna have to dig through the Reddit posts to figure out what some other people are reading because I just don't know that much about like bards as a character to really verify what books would fit this specific prompt. Prologues and epilogues. Most of the books I've read have had a prologue or an epilogue or both, so these three that I have listed there are probably not even the only ones that could fit there, but I just kind of have them there. Romantasy, I definitely have some stuff in mind. I'm not concerned about that. Dark academia. The Spirit Bears Its Teeth might be the only kind of dark academia thing I do read. It's not really a trope or a setting or an atmosphere I read a ton of, so I might just make that one full opaque because I just don't really foresee myself reading more dark academia. Multi-POV, things will fit that. Published in 2024, things will fit that. Character with a disability. Funnily enough, both of these books have a protagonist that is missing a limb. Womb City, it's her arm, I believe, and then Sunbringer, it's her leg. Published in the 90s, I might struggle with that one. I don't read a lot of books that were published during that time frame. Orcs, Trolls, and Goblins, oh my. Do think I have something in mind for that. I think Unnatural Magic, somewhere up on my shelf there, it does have an orc in it. Oh, I believe this one with a bunch of them in there is Author of Color. Obviously, that's not hard. Survival, this is a book where a big part of the plot is just the characters surviving, and like that is kind of what is pushing the narrative forward. Bullet Swallower, I think, is an easy slot in here. Those Beyond the Wall might be a little bit more of a stretch, but I don't think it's too far of a stretch. Set in a small town, I've probably some of these other ones could fit in there, but at least for now, I think The Spirit Bears Its Teeth is a good one in there. But again, I might have to slot something else in there because I do think I'm going to need it for Dark Academia. 5 short stories. I do actually have something in mind for this. I picked up a short story collection somewhere on this shelf while I was on a trip. Reference materials. This is any book with like a map or a glossary or like anything else. I know Sunbringer has a map. I assume other stuff I've read has probably had maps and or glossaries, but at least for now that's slotted in there. And then book club or read along book. This is something I messed up on last year with my Reddit bingo card. This is specifically for the r/fantasy book clubs and read-alongs, not just like any book club or read-along that you happen to be a part of. And you can use like past book club picks or read-along picks that r/fantasy has done, and they've been doing book clubs and read-alongs for a long time. So there's tons and tons of options. So I feel like for only being 3 months into this bingo card, I'm actually doing pretty okay. Obviously, I want to go for a blackout. I want to go for a blackout in both of these. This one, I'm a little more nervous about because it is a lot shorter time period and the same amount of books, surprisingly enough. We're going to work on it. We're going to get there. It's going to happen. Let me know down below what you think about bingo boards and why we enjoy them so much. And thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you on the next video.